Hey guys, Chris Fix here. Today I'm going to change out the fog light lenses on my Mazda B3000 pickup truck. This is a 2001. As you can see, my passenger side fog light is out and my driver's side fog light has water in the lens. When I go off-roading or when there's a lot of rain, I get water in the lens and it causes the bulbs to break, and it's just not a good situation. So I got these two new, really shiny replacement fog lights. These lenses look great, especially next to the old ones. And now I'm going to show you how to change it out. So to get this job done, all these tools are right here, what you need. You're going to need some pliers, some ratchets, sockets. This is a 5/16 and an 18 millimeter, and then I had to put on my own bolts. So this is a 7/16 for my own bolts. So I have a bunch of bolts and washers and lock washers because my bolts were really rusted. You might need them. You got a nice rubber mallet just for tapping in the clips. You got some Loctite for the bumper bolts, and I also got a 7/16 ratchet, and this will help me tighten my new bolts up, and a breaker bar and some penetrating fluid. That's all you need. Let's begin. So to remove the fog lights is a little bit involved. It's not difficult, it just has a few steps, and one of the first steps is to get this bumper off. The problem is, you can see that bolt up there to get the fog light off is easy, but there's bolts in here. There's a bolt here and there's a bolt all the way on the other side. You might be able to see it in here, right there. Those bolts are almost impossible to get to. So what you're going to do is take the bumper off. And the bumper has 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these 4 bolts are very easy to find and take off, and then your whole bumper comes right off. Because we're going to be removing these bolts, I would spray some penetrating fluid in there. That'll just make your life a lot easier come time to remove them. So as we wait for these bolts to sit with the penetrating fluid, we're going to take off the fog light bulbs. So all you have to do is, with your finger, just lift up this clip and pull back. And just pull right out. And then, if you want to take the bulbs out, you can. I'll probably just leave it in. But to take the bulb out, what you do is you just turn this so that it lines up with the little notch there. And then you just wiggle this out. Like so. Now we're going to go do the other side real quick. Just disconnect it. Same process. Lift up, wiggle out. Good. I'm just going to keep the bulb in there. Let's start taking the bolts off. So the bolt is actually in the bumper, and the nut is what holds it in place. Although 3/4 will work, I found that 18 millimeters fits on better. And I'm going to use a breaker bar because you're going to need a lot of strength to get these off. That's actually not too bad. Now you can put your ratchet on when you get it loose and just start ratcheting away. When you do this, you want to make sure you undo all the nuts, but you also want to make sure that you don't drop the bumper on yourself by mistake. But they should hold themselves in place. Okay, there's one. That was pretty easy. Next one is right in there. I'm actually just going to try using the ratchet. There you go. Those aren't on too bad, so I can actually use the ratchet instead of using the breaker bar, which doesn't have a ratcheting feature. Okay, that's 2 nuts out. And there's the next one. Wow, the penetrating fluid definitely did its job here. These are nice and easy to get off. Okay, that's 3. And then the last one, right there. Okay, last nut off. So now we should be able to take the bumper off. Bumper's a little bit heavy. I bet you it's like 40 pounds. So just be prepared. But now we could start undoing more bolts and get to the fog lights. So here's a fog light. There's a fog light. There's one bolt that we need to get out. And then the other 2 are on top. You can see one right in the middle of the screen, and then the other one right in the middle of the screen. Those 2 are going to be tough You're gonna have to take some bolts off to get to the valence, and then we could get into, it's hard to see, but there's 2 bolts in there that we need to get to, and then we could take this whole thing off and put the new ones on. This was a little tight getting it off. There was some clearance with the tow hooks that made it difficult, but just a little bit of squeezing around and shifting this bumper, and it came right off. So I have a 5/16 socket. I'm gonna go try to get this top bolt off. We're working on the driver's side fog light. Okay, so we got that top bolt off. It's really rusted pretty badly, and I don't want to put rusted bolts back in, so I'm going to get new ones. I can't even get it off this socket right now. Wow. So that was just being held on just by that top bolt. This whole thing is broken. Good thing I'm replacing it. Because this is broken, you can get a good view of where the bolts are down here. They're down here, and you can see there's almost no room. So now to get these 2 bolts off of the broken plate, we're gonna have to take off this bolt, take off that bolt, and take off this bolt. And what we're gonna do is just separate the bottom valence from the top part. Might be a good idea to spray some penetrating oil on them. These are also 5/16. I sprayed them with the penetrating oil again because this is starting to slip a lot and causing damage to the plastic on here. I'm putting a screwdriver in here. I'm hoping the screwdriver will prevent this clip from turning and digging into the plastic. My little trick worked and the plastic didn't get damaged. So just keep the bolt with the clip. So we just did that one. Now we're going to go do this one. Again, I got that screwdriver in there to help protect the plastic. So just snapped another bolt. I'm going to have to get some more bolts and make sure they're corrosion resistant this time. So at this point we got that out. Broke the bolt in that one, so that one's out now. Now we're going to shift our attention over here. Okay, another broken bolt. Now we're going to see if we could remove the bottom valence from the top so we could get to these bolts. So you can see there's these clips. Squeeze the clips in and kind of push. Okay, might be easier, needle nose or one of these pliers. And once it gets popped in like that, move to the next one, and you're just shimmying back and forth to pop it out, just like that. There's another one right under here. So you can see these are all popped out, and because they're all popped out, I could bend this down. Now I could get a ratchet in here. Another snap bolt. Now we're going to try to take this one off. And snap that bolt. And there's the plate from the broken fog light. So we got all those done on that side. Now we're going to go do the same exact thing to that side. The first bolt on this side is the top one that connects to the valence. Okay, snapped another bolt. So we got that one done. Now we're going to go down to this one. Snap that bolt. We'll get that out and move to the next one. So now I'm going to try to take a shortcut and just use those 2 bolts I just took off and see if I could get this bent down enough to make it work. So again, for these valence clips, you just squeeze the bottom of the clip, just like so, till it falls through, and do the other one. Good. Remember, there's another one right behind the fog light. There we go. So now that we got this loose, we could just pull this back and get to our bolts for the fog light. So there's one snap bolt. Let's see if the other one will turn. Okay. Okay, and the last bolt also snapped. Doesn't matter, I'm replacing all of them. And then the fog light will come right out. So that's both fog lights out. So just as an overview, so we have that bolt there, we have that bolt there, and this bolt on here taken off. I found out that you don't necessarily have to take this bolt off. You can if you don't want to put too much flex on it. You can see as I move that down, that tab here turns, but it's doable without it. I did it on the other side, so. And then you have these tabs. Tab in here, and then tab here. And again, these tabs, you just squeeze the wedges in and it'll pop right out. And the same thing on the other side. It's the exact same thing except the opposite side. Again, bolt here, easy. Undo the tabs, and then you get access by pulling the valence down. Now we're gonna clean this up a little bit because it's all rusty and dirty, and I'm gonna probably spray paint it. I did the other side. You can see, nice spray paint. Doesn't have to be pretty because this is the back, nobody will ever see it, but you don't want it to rust. There was a bunch of rust in here, so I spray painted back here so nothing rusts through. And I got a bunch of new bolts and nuts and washers and stuff, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with those to put this back on. So one quick tip is whenever you're dealing with new bolts and stuff, instead of searching around all the time, just line them up. Get them nice and easy to grab so you could just grab them when you need to. This is going to be especially helpful when I'm trying to line this up and things are moving and I just want to push a bolt through. So got my brand new light here. Here's the old one. You can see they're similar in construction. New one's obviously really nice. That's going to go in now. We're going to be working on the left side. You can see in here it says L, so that's how you know which side you're on. We're going to take this top bolt and get it in place here, just like so. And I'm going to show you how we're going to use the new bolts. So for all the new bolts, we're going to have a bolt, then we're going to put a washer on, then we're going to put it through the slot here, then we're going to put another washer on, then we're going to put a lock washer on, and then we're going to screw down our nut here. And that's going to be our sandwich right there. So the first one, align the top, put it through, and we'll hand tighten everything first, just so that we could align this properly, and then we'll tighten it down with a ratchet. So now we're going to just pull back this valence again, and you can see it'll drop right in. Get our washer, pop that in, get our other one, pop that in, just like that. Now we'll go underneath with a washer, a lock washer, and a nut. Okay, just hand tighten that. Do the same for the other side. It's all hand tighten, so now we'll tighten it with the ratchet. And now you just want these pretty snug. You don't want to over tighten them, because if you over tighten them, you're going to mess up the plastic. It has a lock washer on it, so it won't loosen because of vibration. That lock washer will keep it nice and tight the whole time. Good, snug that one down. Snug that one down, and you're done with the fog light. So now the fog light is in place. Let's get the bolts on the side valence. So the first thing we're going to do is just pop these clips back in. Just align your clips, and then push the valence up. Good, good, and good. So now we just bolt up this bolt, and that bolt, and then we're done with this side. Nice and tight. Good, we're done with the first side. Got our clips in, got our new bolts on. All done. Everything looks really good too. So now we're going to go do the other side, but I'm not going to show you the whole process all over again. It's the same exact thing as this side, except it's the other side. So when you see me next, you're going to see a finished bumper, and we'll go put it on the car. So now comes the tough part for me, because I'm by myself, but I should be able to do it. So I actually shaved off some of this, made it easier to slide this in, because you can see there's a lot of clearance issues here with the tow hook. If you don't have tow hooks, it's not a big deal, but for me I have tow hooks, so I shaved some there, and I shaved some here. Just made it a lot easier to slide this in and out, especially by myself. Once you get it past the tow hooks, it could sit on here pretty easy. So before we do any alignment or anything, we want to use some blue Loctite on these bolts right at the base, and we'll do that on all 4 bolts. And the blue Loctite is removable, but it prevents any vibrations or anything from causing the bolts to come undone. And since there's 4 main bolts, it's a good idea to do. So I got the 2 inner bolts in first and I put the nuts on them, and that'll help me align everything. Don't tighten them down all the way because you're going to have to adjust the alignment of your bumper, make sure your gaps are closed. Now I'm going to try to get the outer ones into the frame and tighten them down a little bit. Getting this aligned properly has proven to be difficult, so I'm using the jack. And now with that corner lifted up, I'm going to tighten the passenger side and then tighten the driver's side. Make sure you don't put a lot of pressure with the jack. The jack is super strong. That's only plastic. You don't want to break anything. That's how we want our gap right there. So get our 18mm, start tightening it up. And then we'll lift the bumper. Hold it in place with one hand and tighten with the other. Obviously this will be easier with two people, but it's doable with one. Okay. Now we'll move along to our next bolt. So right after tightening the passenger side bolt, I'm going to the driver's side bolt, tightening that, and then I'll tighten the two middle bolts. So all 4 bolts will be tightened, and then I'll take a look at the gap. Okay. We're going to remove the pressure here, make sure it stays where it is. Beautiful. That's a good gap. That's the factory gap right there. You can see factory gap because I had my off-road lights in here, so that looks really good. And now there's one more thing to do. Last thing to do is plug the lights in. Oh man, this is exciting. Look at how clear those are. This is gonna look so good. Ah yeah, look at that. That looks excellent. They both work. Finally, I don't have to worry about them getting water in it. They're brand new. And that is how you change your fog light lenses on a Mazda B3000. These guys look really nice. They're nice and bright. They have a good pattern. So you can see the fog lights really came out nice. Just wanted to show you at night. They really light up pretty good. And I like them. The other thing you can see is the lenses have a great cutoff. Hopefully this is helpful, and this is how you change the fog lights. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That helps me out. And consider subscribing. I do a lot of how-to videos. I publish weekly, sometimes multiple times a week, and I do everything from how to change your brakes, how to change tie rods, how to stop a squeaky belt. I do a lot of stuff. So videos will be popping up on the screen. Right here I'll show you how to change the cooling fan on this truck, a Mazda B3000 or Ford Ranger. And right here I'll show you how to change the rear drums on this truck. I'll also include other how-to videos in the description below. Also, I'd like to thank Auto Parts Warehouse for sending me these lights to install. A link to their website will be in the description, and a link to these lights will be in the description as well.